Hello everybody, hello and welcome to day 6 of I Can Solve Inequalities. So that will be another part of day 6. We already started with equations. Now I'm gonna cover inequalities. Inequalities are all those practice problems where when you see between numbers and variables not just the equal sign, but you see some of those signs. So any example that has involved less, greater, lesser, equal, greater or equal symbols are what inequality stays for. And we have two types of solving inequalities, using addition and subtraction, and also graphing inequalities. So today we will solve the inequalities pretty much the same way we solve equations, but also we're going to learn how to graph those inequalities because their graph will be a little bit different than what we're used to when we think about graphing. So, if I have an example, f is less than 19, how do I graph that? And if I have in another example, 1.2 less or equal h, how do I graph this one? Well, before we begin graphing those, let me show you a few important rules. First, I want you to write down, when we have less symbol, it's what we call open circle. So when the variable is less than some number, we have open circle. When variable is greater than a number, we have another open circle. And I will show you in which direction we're gonna go. But if we have lesser equal symbol, then we have a closed circle. So every time on the graph you see this closed circle, it's because we have less or equal symbol inequality. Also, same thing will be if we have greater or equal symbol inequality. So now, let's go back to those two basic examples. First thing, with the less sign here, we know that we have an open circle. So that will be the part of the graph. The question is, if I want to do 19 right here in the middle, so we don't need to count from 0 to 19 or anything like that. You can just make really short graph, choose number 19 here, 20 will be here, 18 will be here. Put this open circle on top of 19. And if the variable, any number that stays over this variable is less than 19, it means we're gonna go in this direction, because you guys know that any number going to the left of the circle will be numbers less than 19. And we're done with the graph. This one, when we have 1.2 is less or equal h, so that shows closed circle. I'm gonna put the closed circle over here in 1.2. And it tells me that h number will be equal to or less than 1.2, which means again we're gonna go in this direction and my graph will be done. How about example that we have inequality to solve, x plus 4 less than 7. So step 1 will be we're going to solve for x, just like when we solve equation. How do we solve for x? We subtract 4 from both sides, those two cancel, x is less than 3. This is the answer. So once we have the answer, let's go ahead and graph it. First thing, what do we have here? Closed or open circle? It is open circle. I'm going to put it right here and we'll put number 3. And again it tells me that any value for x is less than 3, which means we're gonna go in this direction, and that's how I show the graph of this inequality. Awesome. So if you need to pause, you know what to do, right? The video and the iPad is in your hands, so you control the system. I'm gonna keep going. Example number 2. X plus 12 greater or equal negative 14. So let's go ahead and solve the equation for x. Minus 12 on each side, those two cancel. We have x is greater or equal negative 26. So this equal sign here, it shows me I'm gonna have a closed circle. Negative 26 number is right here. All values for x greater than negative 26 will be to the other direction of the graph. And I am done. Alright, well, I hope you think that's easy because I think graphing inequalities is much easier than graphing equations. So next example, negative 14 greater than x minus 9. Solve it for x plus 9 on each side. Those two cancel. Negative 14 plus 9 is negative 5 greater than x. So open circle, negative 5. All x value, now look at this, notice x variable is on the other side of the equation, but the symbol here shows me that x values are less than negative 5. So since they're less, again we're going to the left on the graph, and that will be the completion here. Example number 4 and 5, they are slightly different in one thing, which is very important actually, and you have to remember, but let me explain what is it. So when when you have to divide, in order to solve the variable, we will end up to a point that we gotta divide by the number in order to get the variable itself. So let me show you this. We are solving for n, so minus 8 on each side, those two cancel. 26 minus 8 will be 18, less than negative 2n. So look at this, we're up to the point where we need to divide by negative 2 each side. So here is the important rule with inequalities. Every time you divide or you multiply by a negative number in order to work out the example, you have to flip the sign, the inequality sign. So we're gonna grab this sign now and we're gonna flip it to the other direction, like this. And we will keep the equal sign. We're gonna cancel those two. So now n will be lesser equal negative 9. That will be the answer. So again, every time we divide or multiply by negative number, you have to flip the sign to the other way. So this was this direction first, now I flip it to the other direction. Maybe that will be a really good idea to write this down in your formula sheet. I think this is very major point solving inequalities. So once we have done this, I can put negative 9 over here and write the closed circle and say n is less than, so the values of n should be less than negative 9, and we're gonna go in this direction and my graph will be completed. Okay, well, let's do one more like this. So another example, we are subtracting 2 from both sides. Those two cancel. This, by the way, it should be 22. So we have negative 2c greater than negative 24. We divide by negative 2. So we divide by negative number. What do we do with this sign? We flip it, so it goes to the other direction. And now we say c is less than positive, what, 12. Positive 12. And if you have your graph, you can put number 12 here, open circle, all less numbers are to the left, so that will be my final, sorry about this, my final answer with the graph. Okay, well, thank you again for watching the other part of day 6, and we'll have more discussions online or during class time. Thank you.